Hi, I'm Streaky from Streaky.com. Today I'm reviewing the Vice DSA. Hi, I'm Streaky from Streaky.com. I'm a mastering engineer from London. I've been mastering for about 25 years. I'm on YouTube every day talking about audio equipment, hardware and software, speakers, hi-fi stuff, how to get your room sounding better, and everything in between. So if you like that kind of thing, then please subscribe, ring the bell, and like the video if you like it as I go. So today I'm going to run through the plugin by Vice. It's Softubes have teamed up with Vice. I'm a big fan of the Vice hardware. I've had the EQ most of my career, and I also did have the hardware version of the DS1, which is the kind of all singing, all dancing Vice de-esser compressor. However, I did get rid of that a few years ago because I always found it was super complex, and I only used to use it for de-essing really. So it was never, it was a very expensive piece of equipment and just too much for what I needed it for. So when I saw that they've got this plugin out, I was really excited. At first they've brought out the kind of box with all the gubbings, which didn't excite me because I just knew how complex it was. But when I saw they'd pulled some sections out of that and made this de-esser, that's really cool, because that was all I used it for. So what I'll do is I'll get into the computer and I'll give you a run through and show you how I'm using it for mastering. Okay, so here we are in Pro Tools with the Vice DSA lined up. Now I'll just quickly run through all the controls of it and then we'll get some music going. So on the left here we have an input gain, on the right we have an output gain. There is a little advanced feature, a little tab that comes out. This has just some changes you can do to the filters that are on there. As I said, I've always found the Vice DS1, which is the main thing, quite complex because of all these little menu things. I mean, it's fantastic that you can do all of this, but I've never really got too stuck into it, so I'm not going to lie to you and say that I have. It's always worked really well just with the settings that they've got, so we'll bin that off there because there's no need. On here, so let's go through, we've got a bypass which looks exactly the same as the one from the unit, which is very nice. A and B channels so that you can do one on A and then compare it to B and try that out. Mid-side, it switches the whole thing to process itself in mid-side, which obviously is good because a lot of de-essing and stuff goes on in the center channel rather than the outside, so it can keep the outside nice and wide, but the center can be controlled a bit better. When it's ganged, that's just channels 1 and channels 2. It's the left and right. When you're ganged, it's doing the same thing, so I always keep that ganged. And there are two different, we have two different sections, should I say, on it that we can use. There is one more filter type on this one, which is the shelf at the end, so that it just drags it across. As you can see, it's kind of stuck to that end, so it's doing all the way up rather than just like this one where it can do, you can move it and it's just holding the bands across the top. Now we are at the sort of high end of the frequency here. It'd be nice if they had some kind of range on there, but you can see whereabouts you are when you're at the top. It tells you what frequency you're at. So in here you can pick your different filter type, as I just said. This turns it on and off. Then you've got solo. Now solo is so that you can then listen to it and it just solos this section of the filter. You can move it around so that you can hear exactly where you want to position it, and then you can work on the width of it by, at the bottom, if you move that up and down with your cursor, then it shrinks it down so you can see it here exactly what's going on. If you use the monitor, what that does is it flips the signal so that what you can hear is what's actually working. So it's like a sidechain, which you'd probably understand more. And so it's really hearing exactly what is taking off. So solo is to sort of find where you are, and then monitor is to really hone in on that and hear exactly what you're taking away. Because sometimes, especially for myself, because I'm mastering with it, I'm not using it on individual vocal tracks or on instruments. I'm using it across the whole mix. So I want to make sure I'm just taking away the vocal. I'm not taking away from snares or things like that that are happening in the same sort of area. Now, this top range I tend to use on with this shelf all the time. And I mainly use, so this section here again, sorry, I use for de-essing the vocals. I can drill really into the vocals. And then this section I'm using more for digital harshness. So as the track's playing, if it's got very tizzy cymbals, if it's got very digital kind of, that kind of edginess that you get from digital recordings, although this is a digital de-esser, it actually just takes that off and smooths it really well. The algorithms that are inside this are so good, and they always have been with Vice. Then you can't really go wrong with it. It doesn't really suck too much. It just does exactly what you want it to do in a really high-end way. Vice stuff just always sounds super clean, really lovely and smooth, and you just really never get any problems with them, really. So down here you can switch between the A and the B, which is here. So that's a quick way of switching between them. And so then you've got presets here as well. So if you want to go in and see, I always find presets great because you can just quickly get stuff going just to see what the guy or girl or whoever's made the plugin has got in mind for it. So these are great starting points. Master softener, as I just said, I guess is just similar to what I was just talking about. Yeah, so there you go in the high end. So you're just using super high, it's starting at 9K and then going all the way up. So that's just really stripping off a lot of that digital harshness. So yeah, it's softening it up a bit and with quite a tight range. So I'll get a track going so I can just show you briefly what I mean. Hopefully this has got some decent sounds on it. Turn that down a touch before I can't hear what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Okay, so that digital harshness, let's just work on that. So I'll spread that out a little bit and make it a little bit more obvious. So there you go, we're just in solo. You can hear what it's taking away. If I grab the threshold and bring it down, I like the way on this, this kind of takes a little bit of getting used to the interface, just the way it looks, because it's quite radical. But obviously, the more you take off, the fatter or the thinner it gets. So it works quite nicely. So as you can see on here, you can see I'm not taking much off, but as I start pulling it down, you can see how much it's taken off because it's getting thicker there, which is quite nice. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's really nice sort of feature because you can do it with your eyes and your ears at the same time. I mean, I do tend to listen with my ears rather than my eyes, but you know what I mean. So there you can see that's what it's taking off. So you can go deep, but that's sort of taking too much off there. So just those little sort of edgy little bits that you can hear there is what you want to be taking off for that digital harshness. It sounds like it's a bit of distortion and things really. So then you can pump that back in and it just smooths that top out. If it ever clicks back in, there we go. Okay, so here we are just to do the vocal range. So if I pull that, it's around 5. I can widen that out a bit. And then I'll just pull the threshold down. That's the range, so that's the depth of it. And then the threshold where it's going to grab the signal. We can see it's starting to get a little bit thicker. But, you know, it feels like it's taking a little bit too much away. As you can hear, it's taking away some of that. So there we go, we're just getting into the hearing exactly what we want to take away now. And make it a bit shallower. I don't know where the vocal is, we'll kick in with that in a minute, but you can hear what it's doing there. So there you go, it's just kind of nudging that a bit. It's not too sibilant, this track, so it's, there we go. You can hear it's grabbing a bit of the vocal there. It's just a great bit of kit for just getting a little bit more smoothness in the vocals. You can see how much it's taking off there in just the mids. If you switch it to the mid side. There you go, and that's how we play with it. So that's the Vice DSA. I hope you got something from that little quick tutorial stroke review. If you like this kind of content, make sure that you go to streaky.com. I have a newsletter that comes out once a month. I can give you some tips and tricks and I point you in the direction of things that I can't show you on YouTube. You get discounts from different plugin manufacturers and giveaways, things like that. It's once a month at the start of the month. If you are interested in learning how to master from me, I also have a course on Streaky.com. So go there, I'll teach you how to master. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.